Hi folks, it's Jonathan here again from Spiritual Speakeasy. Thank you very much indeed for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who's already subscribed. Thank you to people who do follow us on this Speakeasy. We're really grateful for that, by the way. To anybody who's new, welcome, and we hope you enjoy the content of these videos that we're putting out right now. We do just say to everybody at the beginning, if you're not already subscribed, then please do subscribe, and if you hit the little bell icon too, then you can also keep up to date with everything that's going on as it comes out. So you might see a little subscribe link there. I'm hoping that I'm getting a little bit more professional at doing that. So you just hit that, basically hit that, and then hit the bell icon, and then everything's sorted. Okay, so yeah, what do we do here? What is this all about? Why am I here? Why is this random guy from Yorkshire kind of talking about stuff that a lot of people may be interested in, a lot of people may not be interested in? And if you're not interested, if you think that all this is garbage, if you think that it's something to kind of put a comment on and ridicule and say tinfoil hat wearer, you're right. Okay, I have got a tinfoil hat, but I tell you what, if you think like that, stick around. It might expand your mind, it might push the boundaries of consciousness. If it doesn't, then just kind of sidle away nice and gently, and we won't even know that you've gone. So thank you very much indeed, and hopefully one day you may wake up. Thank you. For all those who are going through that awakening thing right now, for those who maybe class themselves as awakened, then welcome all. This is the new world. I am welcoming you to the new world. And that's what I want to talk about today is it the end of the world as we know it? What are we actually going through? When is all this going to end? When is all this stuff going to come to a halt and we either return back to normal, or we return, or when I say return back to the real world? Well, if we look into history, or what we might class as the history that wasn't written down as such but came through the myth, when we had civilizations such as Atlantis, Lemuria, if anybody's understood that or knows that or has read about it, fantastic. I'm not going to go into that in great detail. It's something that you might like to look up if you're not sure. But apparently, according to these myths and legends, we actually were a very advanced society of beings at one time. And through greed and corruption and everything else that goes along with that, we lost that and we almost had to start again. Now, where does that kind of ring a bell? I know, right now, right here, okay? Because here we are again, folks, through greed and corruption and everything that goes along with it, we're finding ourselves in a situation where humanity has to find a better way to live. I feel quite confident that we will do that. I'm not sure if it's my lifetime for that to happen. I sincerely hope so. I hope to be able to see it in this lifetime. I am seeing major signs of that happening right now. But it's something that we've all got to work towards. Now, people ask me as a medium, oh, do you know anything that might be going on? Or can you give us an idea of when it's all going to finish? I may have mentioned this before in previous speakeasies, but I say to everybody, I'm not going to predict that information. I'm not going to put it out there in the public domain just at this moment in time. I have been given information about it. Some of it is not to be released just now. I have learned as a medium that if I give information too quickly, it may not be the right time for people to hear that information. And I almost got into trouble once for doing that. So I'm not going to stick my neck out so far and do that, but I will try and introduce you to new concepts, new ways of thought, or perhaps just kind of reveal things that you're already thinking yourself, that things are happening within you that might connect with you when I speak, and you might resonate with that, and it might help to make sense and to help you understand that you're not actually on your own, that you're not just that soul being out there who thinks like you do, who feels like you do. We are all amazing divine beings of light and frequency. And while we are here, we have generally chosen to be here right now. So before we were even born, we decided that we would come to planet Earth in this timeline, in this dimension, to experience what we're experiencing right now. So don't ever feel as though you are a victim, folks, of the circumstance of the times. We have actually chosen this. We've chosen it. Can you believe it? We actually chose it. Okay, but it's all for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Everything that we do has its place. Everywhere that we are meant to be in that moment at that exact time. I'm going to tell you something now that I received probably about 3-4 months ago. And I keep getting little nuggets of information coming through from my guides. And you know what? They do have this knack of kind of telling me things that tend to come right. And in my line of work, I am privileged to experience the awakening of humanity at first hand. And again, I may have spoken about this in previous speakeasies. Forgive me if I'm kind of going over old ground, but please, folks, if you've been there and you've heard it, that there are new people coming to view this that have not perhaps heard this before. But we are going through this timeline right now. We are sharing the experience right now. And all this is meant to be. It's part of the Great Awakening. Now, when we look at time, time is concurrent. Okay, in my world, everything happens now. Everything, the whole of history, the whole of the future is happening very much in the moment. So, when we understand that, things begin to take on a different turn. We begin to perceive life a little bit differently from what the mainstream narrative will have us believe. And it allows us to elevate ourselves and become the observer rather than just the participant. And my guides have, I think that's what I'm trying to say, have been very instrumental in guiding me through this period. And people say to me, oh, well, I don't see any signs of awakening happening. I can't see that at all, you know. Well, I'll say to you, and I'm not being kind of disrespectful to anybody in any particular profession, but if you're a bricklayer, okay, or a plumber, okay, or a scientist in a lab somewhere, you're not generally going to see the signs of awakening that I do in my job with people who come to me on a near enough daily basis talking about very odd or weird experiences, things that have begun to happen to them, psychic experiences, feelings, knowings, intuition, lives taking a much different turn and wondering where that life will lead them. And I see this, folks, on a frequent basis. So I'm privileged to be able to do that in my work, in my line of work. And I can vouch for it, and I can say categorically that the Great Awakening that all these spiritual people are talking about is actually happening. It's not fantasy. It's not nonsense. And I mention this time and again that the illusion is the real world that we see out there. That is the illusion. That is the fantasy. That is the Alice in Wonderland. And I know I've mentioned this previously about the people who believe that they control us. And that's very important emphasis on the word believe, because these people truly believe that they have control over us. In reality, when we rise above the illusion and we begin to observe, we understand there are no borders for countries, there are no political controls, there's nobody on the face of this planet who has any authority over any other human being or any being on this planet, including the plant animal kingdoms, the ocean life, the bird life, even the earth itself. We are here as visitors or guests to experience physical reality. And there is not one person who has any authority to tell you how you should live your life. Not one person. And if they will stand up and say, I have, then remind them that that might be arrogance in its most extreme form. Pieces of paper with signatures on, illusion. It's just illusion. Okay? We can intend a different reality for ourselves. We have already intended this illusion, or delusional reality. We've intended all this through our own creative intention. So think what we can do positively if we recreate, if we re-intend to create or intend for a much better world than this. One where we begin to connect to the higher consciousness, which brings us more into the true reality and the truth. Imagine, folks, what that world would be like, and keep throwing those thoughts out there because it's working. My guides are telling me what we're doing is a fantastic job. We are winning the war, folks. And the controllers, I'm going back to the controllers, those who believe that they have authority and control over us, these are the ones that in previous speakeasies I mentioned that basically have had the soul removed, okay? The soul has gone. All we're dealing with there is artificial intelligence. And when you see these people and their behavior, we're beginning to see the signs of that intelligence breaking down, because there is no one actually to control it. The higher controlling forces who have created this intelligence, these beings who believe that they control us through programming, I hasten to add, they've been programmed to run a program, and that's why the program's getting more and more convoluted, more and more weird, more and more Alice in Wonderland all the time, because the program is breaking down. And I'm going to show you something now. You may have already seen this, by the way, but I'm going to do a little share screen for you. So I'm going to be clicking and doing things in the meantime. But here's an example of what I feel. I have no categoric proof for this. I don't know in what context this has been taken. It'll be interesting to find out what the reality of the situation was. But if there's an example of that control breaking down, and this was a random picture of a random circumstance with no story behind it other than photographing somebody walking down the screen, is this evidence or proof that the program is breaking down? I don't know, but I'd love to know more about it. If there was a video or something out there, I've not found one, you might be able to kind of help me on that one and furnish me with some more information. So apologies in advance if I'm kind of making something out to be something that it isn't. That's not what I'm here for. But I just found it very interesting and very, very strange. Here we go. Here we go, look. It's El Diablo himself. And what is this man actually doing? Questioning, what is this man doing? Is he receiving information from his reptilian overlords, I wonder? It looks to be a bit out there to me. The way that he's walking, the way that he's holding his arms, I don't know quite what that is. As I say, this could be purely context. contextual. Okay, is that a word? Contextual? I'll have to look that one up later. So apologies for the bad English, and also if this is just a kind of shot that has context and meaning to it. Please let me know, folks, if you can find anything on it. But if this is just random behaviour, I find it a bit scary and weird, to be honest. But it does explain that you'll see movement in these people, the way they behave, that it's beginning to break down. The program's beginning to break down. Anyway, okay, let's go back to my mugshot. Whoa, there's the scary bit. That's the real scary picture. Okay. Something quite profound and I feel important that I received from my guides as well recently. I was asking the question myself, how is this going to begin to end? How is it going to, what are we going to see? Are we going to see signs of the end? Or please, can you give us any information at all that I can pass on to people that will help them to see for themselves? Because right now, you know, I think we all need a little bit of proof. We all need a little bit of information just to know that these incredible feelings that we have are not just nonsense or illusion. We're making them up. That this knowing that each and every one of us has inside of us is actually leading somewhere. And I asked to my guides, and one of my guides is called Kalpatra. I may have introduced you to Kalpatra before. I know I've done a full speakeasy on my guide Phoenix. Kalpatra is a little bit different. Kalpatra is more of a physical being, however interdimensional, a very powerful healing guide. And I asked my guides the question, how is this all going to kind of begin to end? And the words came back, it will begin through the legal process and the children. So when we are dealing with spirit guides, they can be very frank and very clear-cut in what they say. But this particular time, we could read quite a lot into that. Now, this was about 4 months ago, folks. But it's interesting now, and this is why I wanted to bring it out now. Things have changed, and we know things change every single day. And every single Monday, particularly in the UK, we have a new announcement, generally to take more freedoms away from us, or to announce some new measure of this, some new law of that, some pointless, absolute vacuous nonsense from the mouths of these biological robots. I've just been taken back to the end credits of the X-Files, and I think, or remember, that right at the end there was a little cartoon character came up and it said, "Bad robot." So think of the X-Files, think bad robot. Okay? But these people are taking us absolutely nowhere. And the cracks are beginning to appear. And the evidence is slowly, it seems, coming out now. Right now, we've got Fauci being cross-examined by the Senate in the US. Apparently, a mass of damning evidence through emails about the creation of, and I don't like to use the word, but this virus. But what's happening now across the world is they're now targeting the children. Even though the children have never really been susceptible to this, it's now that we have to target the children. When this message first came to me, I assumed that it may have been to do with the child trafficking. And that, folks, may still be the case. But now this has come out, I actually resonate more on this level now, because I feel that if this becomes a problem with the children in our world, where it's causing death and destruction, that people will begin to awaken. This will be the mass awakener for the majority of the people who are still not awakened, but who are destined to be awakened. And I will say people who are destined to be awakened, because there are some people on this planet who will not awaken in this lifetime. What happens to them? They will live their lives and they will pass just like everybody else. Okay? But the children who don't need this, the children who have been mentally affected by all this through the wearing of masks over the face, they will stop at nothing to further this agenda. And you may remember the song, folks, the Manic Street Preachers. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. It begins with legal process and the children. 2 weeks ago, I was given by my guide Phoenix that, well, the exact words were, it begins now. And certainly in the last 2 weeks, things have been hotting up in that direction. So we are now seeing, folks, the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end times not for humanity, but for the system that we've allowed ourselves to create. We're beginning to see the end of that now happening. And it will be like a snowball effect. You'll see momentum pick up on this. Because when the children begin to suffer, that's when it will take on a much, much different turn and meaning. The children are the future of humanity. And the controllers, the ones who've now left the planet, who were invited to leave, I love that, invited to leave. I love it. They are no longer running the show. So therefore, what they did was to program the bad robots with this diabolical plan to dumb down the awakening in those children who have come to this planet to help us awaken. They knew full well when the children started to arrive on this planet at least 20, 30 years ago, children being born to this planet specifically for the awakening times, they knew that they would have to do something to stop that from happening at DNA level. Or to try and do that. But if you watch previous speakeasies, you'll know that Humans have the divine spark, and that can never be affected. So, folks, if we want to be better people, to live in a better world, to live more spiritually, more in harmony with the planet and each other, protect your children. Protect them, because they are the divine messengers. They are here with the messages that will take us forward, that will help to guide us, to lead us, to steer us. These are the very beings, folks, who are here to do that job. And we cannot be so ignorant or so closed down to allow that to happen. It's of utmost importance. There are so many children now on this planet who have already arrived with psychic abilities, with healing abilities, with wisdom way beyond their years. It's not random. It's not random, folks. It's design. It's meant to happen. It's meant to be. They are here to help us to awaken. So protect the kids. Watch the legal process. Watch how that unfolds. Protect the kids. And those kids will come back and begin to protect us. Thank you very much, folks. I'm going to sign off just right now. I just needed to get that message across for everybody. I hope it makes sense. I hope it resonates. And I received information last night. We went out on a lovely walk. And again, I may talk about that a little bit later down the line. It's very much hot off the press. We're talking about the next 4 months being very significant. So keep your eyes and ears open. Above all, though, keep your hearts open. Keep your hearts open. Be forgiving. Be kind. Show the loving kindness to everybody. Even the bad robots, whether it registers or not. And know that whatever the plan was to stop our ascension, the real plan was to understand that that was going to happen and to allow that to play out while we're all waking up. As bad as it seems or as awful it's been, it's had to play out, and it is still playing out until the time when Phoenix said to me, the awakening will be complete when the last person has woken up. And that, folks, is the last person who is destined to wake up. We get in there. We are winning this war of consciousness. Thank you once again, folks. You're absolutely wonderful. Love to you all. Love and light to you all. Keep the faith. Keep walking on your pathway. Hold your head up high in the face of adversity. You are strong. You are receiving the full strength of the cosmos and the angelic realms right now. All those benign beings of light coming together to help humanity return to its true family. You take care, folks. Have a wonderful day. And once again, love and light to you all. Thank you.